102.1 FM.
The news in one.
Impact Radio 102.1 FM. Good morning, Lagos. Good morning, Nigeria. Welcome to the newspaper review, where we get to analyze all of the stories that made front page in some of the dailies that we have with us today. Fast running out of time, and so we have to go quick into all of the stories that we have this morning. But remember, you can always be a part of the conversation if you call us on 0907 224 5018, 0907 224 5018. That is also how you can reach us on WhatsApp this morning, so you can be part of the newspaper review. My name is Uche Okorie. Moving straight to the papers this morning, we will be starting with the Guardian newspaper. And the Guardian newspaper has this one for us today. It says, FG under pressure as DMO blames FX global shocks for rising debt. FG under pressure as DMO blames FX global shocks for rising debt. You find that one on page 6. The debt matters continue to rise on the news. So many stakeholders complaining about how huge our loans are nowadays, and so many persons saying that is not the way to go. With some always of the opinion that yes, in as much as there's no country in the world that doesn't take loans. But the question is, are these loans going to really be utilized for what exactly it's being collected for? Because that is where most of the issues arise. Yes, you can take a loan, but is it being used for what it's meant to be used for? That is another question altogether. But let's see how all of this pans out in the coming days as we see as all of this play out. All the stories right here on the front page of the Guardian newspaper this morning. This one says, flight delays, disruption. NCAA summons domestic airlines to Abuja. It is really sad that many a time, there was a time in Nigeria when, for a fact, the quickest way for you to get to your destination is by flight. And but nowadays, it doesn't seem to be that way. It's not because the planes are not as fast as they used to be in the past. No, they're still as fast as they used to be. But it is because of the delays you get to meet at the airports nowadays. You could have a flight for 7 a.m. or let's say 10 a.m. And you're leaving, or maybe you're just boarding the flight at 7 p.m. And you're wondering why. There used to be a time where you could have an appointment in Abuja. You're in Lagos, and you could have an appointment maybe say 5 p.m. in Abuja, and you have to do something right here in Lagos at maybe 10, 11 a.m. and you still have the opportunity to go to the airport to pick a flight at 3 p.m. and you're sure you're going to get to Abuja, but at worst 4 p.m., 4:30 p.m. if there are even slight delays, because Lagos to Abuja about 45 minutes to an hour if I'm not mistaken, and you still get to meet your appointment. But now, is it so? Can you actually risk an emergency appointment on that day and decide to fly on that day in Nigeria nowadays? Well, I can't risk it. I don't know about you. Underneath that one, reps fume, summon minister over Abuja Kaduna rail derailment. If you remember the Abuja Kaduna rail that derailed a couple of days ago, and of course, a couple of persons injured. Till date, we do not have concrete reasons as to why that train derailed, and so more needs to be known. And of course, let's hope this summon would lead to answers, not just more questions. Underneath that one, no immediate plan to implement 5% fuel tax, says Edu, amid pushback from OPS CSOs. You find this on the business page 15 Underneath that one, FG overhauls social register to support over 70 million citizens. This one you find on page 7. And Nigeria always has good policy on papers, always beautiful policy on papers, but the most times that the most issue we've always faced is an implementation. 70 million citizens for a social register. The question is, how many of us can actually beat our chest and say, oh yes, it's indeed true that we have this 70 million on a social register, and this 70 million will indeed get the care from the government. But let's see. Indeed, change can happen at any time, and maybe, just maybe, this government intends to do right by these 70 million citizens in this social register. Just underneath the nameplate, PDP, LP, others flay Senate move to stop Natasha's resumption. That one you find on page 3. Natasha and the Red Chamber saga continues, and I guess we're going to be seeing this one for many more days to come. Delta slashes dialysis cost, expands health reforms. You find this story on page 29. Good news. Hopefully more reforms will help the health sector get better, and we need to do more on the national level so as to treat not only for patients and all of that, but also for the workers in the health sector. They need to be treated as a priority as well. Beside that one, NUPENG suspends strike as Dangote agrees to unionize workers. That one you find on page 3. Good news. I guess maybe that face-off will eventually come to an end now. So let's see how all of that pans out. Maybe nothing else, come out in the nearest future concerning this and anything like a strike, because that's not what Nigeria needs at this point. Nepal on edge as Prime Minister, key ministers resign over alleged graft, social media ban. I don't know if you've been on social media yesterday. Videos of how Nepal citizens they target the Gen Z protest, destroying properties. The parliament was burned. It was sad to see ministers attacked, some pushed into the river and all of that. It was a really gruesome sight. It was a sight that Nepal citizens tag as a means of gaining their own freedom and against oppression and all of that. But does it have to come to the destruction of properties? Well, that's the much we can take on the Guardian newspaper. From the Guardian, we move to the Punch newspaper. And the Punch leads with this one. Doctors to decide on nationwide strike today. Once we've escaped the NUPENG strike, well, it seems like we have to keep our fingers crossed for the doctors later in the day as they decide on a nationwide strike today. The story you find on page 7 and page 29. NARD's NEC meets to review government's response to demands. NAMED decries $1 billion yearly spending on medical tourism. Tinubu restates commitment to health sector transformation, vows to end hospitals' power crisis with hybrid solutions. One of the greatest issues, power, in Nigeria as a whole, power is a huge issue, which many have said is the reason why it will be hard to get that industrialization revolution in this part of the world until we fix power. And it's also one of the big issues that we face in our health sector. As you go to so many hospitals, there is no power, and even the ones who can afford to buy diesel and fuel, you get to understand that it's getting more expensive, and sometimes they have to ration power, which makes no sense. It's not supposed to be done in a health sector, and so therefore it's important that every every health facility in Nigeria, especially those under the government, the federal government, the state government, should have some sort of solution, some sort of power solution. That is, if it's going to be the state providing that power, it needs to be provided optimally, and they need to make sure that those hospitals do not lack power at any time. There needs to be ways that to make sure that our health sector are treated like a priority. I've always said that the workers, the patients, the health sector in generality, it needs to be treated like a priority. They need to be treated with like eggs, taken care of, pampered, because the health sector is so vital. You're talking about $1 billion health tourism, where we get to see so many Nigerians go outside to spend so much money, as much as $1 billion outside the shores of Nigeria, just because they need good health or take care of themselves. This is money that can be spent in Nigeria if our health sector is better. It's as simple as it is. We need to understand that we need to put Nigeria first, and putting Nigeria first means every sector needs to be working optimally. The health sector, one of the most important, if not the most important. Other stories right here on the front page of the Punch newspaper. PDP SANS protest as Senate blocks Natasha's return. You find that one on page 18. 5 soldiers, terrorists feared killed in Zamfara clash. Also on page 18. South Africa dents Eagles World Cup hopes after stalemate. You find that one on page 31. That's on the sports corner. Vehicle theft. 3 Nigerians jailed 96 years in Ghana. Page 4 and 5. Osun Kingmakers reject move to dethrone. Osun Kingmakers reject move to dethrone jailed monarch. This one you find on page 29. Okay. I don't get why moves are being blocked, to dethrone someone who is in jail. Does it mean that someone who is in jail has rights to be on the throne? Well, I won't claim to know the rules or the cultures of the Osun Kingmakers. Probably they know more and understand why they do not want him dethroned. More of that story I'm sure we're going to see in the coming days. Nopeng suspends strike as Dangote accepts union demands. You find this one on page 23. That was a good move from Dangote, making sure that everything comes to an end. 31 states domestic debt hits 2.57 trillion naira. Also on page 23. 2027 presidency, Jonathan split South PDP. Page 2 is where you will see that one. And finally, no immediate plan to implement fuel surcharge, federal government. Page 24, I beg your pardon, is where that one is at. Impact 102.1 FM, the newspaper review is where you are listening to, and we are here to analyze all of the stories that made front page in some of the dailies that we have with us today. You can always be a part of the conversation if you reach us on 0907-224-5018. That's for your call, and for WhatsApp 0907-224-5018. That's the number for you to reach us at. In case you're just joining us, well, 2 papers have been looked at. We still got 2 more to go, and let's do that now. This one is the Vanguard newspaper, or best still, let's go pay some bills, and when we come back, we can get a look at the other 2 papers that we have with us here today. Don't go nowhere. It is the Morning Impact Show. It is our Impact Radio 102.1 FM, and of course it is the newspaper review, where we get to analyze all of the stories that made front page in some of the dailies that we have with us here today. My name is Uche Okorie, and yes, we will be right back with all of this. Don't go nowhere. The newspaper review is what you are listening to.
Oh, what did they happen now? No bonus for all my line.
No panic, as MTN don't carry better gist come. Every 6 minutes you talk, MTN go dash you 3 extra minutes. Fiam to enter MTN better gist. Dial *123 *2 *1 hash or text BG to 312. T and C's apply.
Get ready to feel the rush. A night of unstoppable praise, powerful worship, and overflowing gratitude is coming. High Impact Praise Blast is back with High Praise Reloaded. Join us on the last Friday of the year, December 26th, 2025 at High Impact Planet, Kilometer 12, Lagos Ibadan Expressway, opposite MFM Prayer City, Ibadan at 7 p.m. for an experience like never before. And guess what? Entry is absolutely free. Call 0706 393 5694 or 0814 229 9509 for more information. Don't miss this electrifying night. We are reloading the praise. Get ready for High Praise Reloaded. Save the date, ready to ignite.
The MTN Mega Billion promo is finally here. From Monday to Saturday at 7 p.m. Plenty Nigerians will stand a chance to win big. To join, just dial *900# on your MTN line. Then every recharge from 100 naira or more will get you more entries and increase your chances to win. This promo lasts till the 21st of September.
Recharge today and win millions. T's and C's apply. Visit www.mtn.ng for more details.
Impact Radio 102.1 FM. In case you're just joining us, this is the newspaper review where we get to analyze all of the stories that made front page in some of the dailies that we have with us today. We've looked at the Punch newspaper, we've looked at the Guardian. It's now time for us to look at the Vanguard newspaper this morning. And the Vanguard newspaper has this one. It says here, world leaders, envoys condemn Israel attacks on Qatar. Couple of writers to it. Attack reaction to Monday's Jerusalem shooting. Netanyahu, UK Prime Minister distances himself from attack. Experts call for de-escalation of crisis. It's a serious situation. This is according to Poplio. Huge. No one expected that one. The attack on Qatar, and according to the Prime Minister of Israel, Netanyahu, he says this is as a result of the shooting that happened in Jerusalem. I guess there are speculations that it has to do with Qatar, for them to have attacked Qatar, but I'm sure we're going to find out so much more in the coming days. The UK has distanced itself from the attack, as there are so many interests in Qatar, and so you get to wonder what's going on. Okay, other stories. New curriculum don't implement in a hurry, experts tell federal government. Underneath that one, 2027 more governors, senators, rep eager to join APC, says Yiwatada. That one you find on page 17. Page 12, I beg your pardon, of the paper this morning. And Nupeng suspends strike after DSS brokered truce with Dangote. You find this one on page 8. Tinubu's bold reforms, proof of political will in executing economic policy. This is coming from the Vice President, Kashim Shettima. Expiration of suspension. PDP kicks as Senate denies Natasha resumption. Page 8 is where you will see that one this morning. Above the nameplate of the paper this morning, it says, Federal Government Gazettes tax reform laws implementation begins January 2026. You find that one on page 19 of the story of the paper, I beg your pardon. How kidnapped major was rescued in Delta community. Page 6 is where you will see that story. Gridlock as flash floods take over Lagos Road, paralyze businesses. Page 7 is where that one is. We saw that one yesterday morning in so many places. Flash floods, but later in the day, everywhere got dried in some places, at least in a few places that I witnessed. But hopefully something will be done in the coming days to prevent something like this from ever happening. On a sports corner, Eagles draw against Bafana. Sad for Nigerian football. This is according to Akpeyi. Poor football, if you ask me. Nigeria on third of the table, behind Benin and South Africa. South Africa with 17 points, Benin with 14 points, Nigeria with 11 points. And so it's a sad one because it seems like we're not going anywhere. It seems like we're not going to the World Cup. And this is really, really sad because it makes it a back-to-back miss for Nigeria in the World Cup. That is, if they do not qualify. 2 more games to go. So there's still an opportunity. 6 points, to grab. But, we have to go to the permutations now. We'll have to start calculating if Benin does this or Benin does not do this. If Lesotho, brings us someone from nowhere and, all those things. And which is not good for our football. It's a shame. It's a shame. I think I can boldly say Nigeria has a cluster of the biggest footballers playing top football in Africa. If we want to put the calculations of the numbers of top footballers playing in the top flight, and I mean in the top flight, I'm talking about the English Premier League, I'm talking about the La Liga, the numbers of players playing in this top flight football that happens to be in the Nigerian squad. You can't see any of that in any African team, but yet we still seem like the worst football team that I've seen in like ages, and it's really, really sad. It's a really, really sad one. More needs to be done for our football, and it needs to go down. It needs to go back to the roots. It's not just something that's affecting only the national team. It's not just only the Super Eagles. It's the Flying Eagles. It's the Home Base Eagles. It's the Falconets. It's the under-17. I would say the Super Falcons, but I dare not say so because, hey, at least they won the Nations Cup for us. They are the only ones doing us proud. But, hey, in the World Cup, can they really perform? Which is the stage we need to move to. Yes, we've conquered Africa. We need to start conquering the world. So, yes, I'll be fair to say even the Super Falcons, we need to go back to the grassroots. It needs to start from the beginning. We need to change the orientation of our football. We need to go back to the secondary schools. We need to go back to the primary schools. That is how to get back our football. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take years and years to get back our football. If it means we need to sit so many competitions out, let's sit them out. But we need to go back to the roots so as to save our football. Our football has fallen. That's fallen deep down into the realm of mediocrity. And if we do not go back to the gutters to pick back where our football is, we might just be lamenting for years and years to come. That's the much we can take for the Vanguard this morning. The Daily Trust, which is the last paper of the day. Our flood swept away 2 sisters, others in Zaria. Sad story on that one. Other stories which you can see, you need to go look at that one on page 3 and 4. The story started on the front page in case you're interested. Female accountant found dead inside car in FCT. And the police will go on to investigate that one. Condemnations as Israel military hits Hamas leaders in Doha. Oh, so it's Hamas leaders that are in Qatar. Okay, I guess the Daily Trust has more detail for you in case you're interested. Nigeria's 2026 World Cup hopes uncertain after South Africa draw. Yeah. DSS resolves Nupeng Dangote Group fee rift, strike suspended. DSS resolves Nupeng Dangote Group rift, strike suspended. We won't implement fuel tax now, Oyedele. Ways to recover funds sent to wrong accounts. In case you've fallen victim to something like that and you're wondering how can I get my fund back because the person you're talking to doesn't seem like he's going to send it back or she's going to send it back on their own, well, go look at this one. You'll find out why suicide is becoming common. Why suicide is becoming common. That story you find on page 5 of the Daily Trust newspaper, and that wraps it up for the paper review for this morning. I want to say a very big thank you to everyone who tuned in and listened, and also want to use this opportunity to reach out to everyone listening to say the INEC continuous voters registration is going on. In case you have not pre-registered, you need to go register, and if you've pre-registered on the internet, you need to go to your local government to actually do the physical process of registration. You need to take part in elections. You need to take part in the Nigerian politics. That's the only way for you to have a voice on how the policies or how the politics is going to, be shaped in the future, because your vote matters. We should take ourselves away from the thought that our votes do not count. If your votes do not count, politicians won't be going a long way to try to bribe you. Politicians won't be going a long way to try to buy your votes. For some reason, it counts. That is why they try to offer you money for those votes. So take a decision today. Decide to register. Decide to get your voter's card, and decide to vote your conscience when it's time for elections. And don't be one of those persons who sell their votes and then complain that the government is not doing well. If you have no right to complain, you have no moral justification to complain. You should have just taken it fact that you have received your own share of whatever situation that other Nigerians find themselves in. So you should always make sure that you do right by yourself and you do right by every Nigerian. That's the newspaper review. My name is Uche Okorie. Have yourself a beautiful, beautiful Wednesday.